Oh, don't make it political or whatever.
We're online. We're here. Um, so good afternoon to the viewers. I know that we're out here learning. We were to be here at 12, but please forgive us. Um, we had some technical glitches. I want to thank our technical operator, Tyler, for putting this all together so that we gotta be this body get into jumping, that body get into jumping and all that. Today with me is the Honorable Lordin Lester, um, my friend, sister, squaddy. Listen, we good like that.
Yes.
Uh, and it's such a just a joy. It's a natural respect, natural relationship over the years, Lorraine. A lot of people jump out here talking about this and that and picket and PNC and all of that. People don't know what trench is, right? But
Hmm.
here we are again. I'm so happy to share this platform with you. Before I allow you to introduce yourself, Lorraine, let me just say for the viewers' sake, Novella Noble should be joining us. Gigi also should be joining us.
And it
Idris should be joining us. Judge should be joining us. And
and
we're gonna
it's
have
Ferguson
Annette Ferguson should be joining us. So
MP.
we're gonna have a wonderful but yet sad and regrettable conversation here. But allow me to say from the outset that change got to come. We got to bring not just a change, but a good change um, to this nation. Before Lurleen, I was saying it on my live this morning.
Hmm.
I am now one of the persons who come to the public to say, hey, oh, this is not political or not. I've gone past that.
Oh
All right.
man,
I am past that. When people want to put you in slave and muzzle people and
try to put
divide
you in a
people,
box.
when they want to divide people, they come and they say, oh, politics. This is politics. And people they get tied up with that. And so allow me, Laureline, to ask you to introduce yourself. Please forgive me. I'm new to this. I don't know where to look for comments and all of that, but I hope that um yeah. So Laureline, please feel free
Oh well,
introduce
Madam
yourself.
Brooms, as always, the respect is mutual. Thank you again for teaming up with us. We started a conversation. Some people might have forgotten. We started a conversation to deal with the serious issue there in Guyana not too long ago. And here we are. We're continuing that conversation.
Yeah.
Um, I've been around for as long as anybody else who've been around long would know me. And this is what we do. We fight for people regardless of whether or not they look like us. We fight because justice should be for everybody. Now, you talked about, Madam Brooms, the fact that some people are jumping out to say, oh, don't make the issue political or whatever. From the time you wake up in the morning, you know, your life has been guided by political decision. The commissioner of police was appointed by a political decision. So don't let anybody run out here to try to tell you, don't make things political. You see, some of our politicians, they are caught up with this. And sadly, you know, they are caught up with this old shenanigan that people, that is a ploy to try to dwindle what is happening. Because there's a negative spin on politics. So people feel, oh, that's politics I don't want to get in. Public policies by which your life is guarded by comes from politician. So the police, the policies that dictates how the police operation operate comes from a political decision. Who is in charge of the commissioner of police? And mind you, we know that the Constitution of Guyana says how the Commissioner of Police ought to be appointed. There should be an agreement with the leader of the opposition. Who's the leader of the opposition? A politician. And the president. Who's the president? He comes from a political party. So that's a political decision. So the appointment of the police commissioner is a political decision. Don't let anybody fool you. So don't let us see the minister within whatever ministry officer, the prime minister, Kwame McCoy, just put out something. Oh, it shouldn't be political. Come on, sir. You ought to be smarter than that. So that whole thing about don't making it political, that has been an old weapon used by those who call themselves, since the days of slavery, since the days of Jim Crow in America. That is what they try, to break the civil rights movement. They try to paint Martin Luther King as something else to just, oh, that's political, whatever. But you know what? They were gone past that. So what? Our life, the policies that decides how the country runs, it comes from a place of political decision making. And so let us dispel with that. What they're doing is trying to not make people come out and pour out, show their humanity for something that has happened that is so horrific. So they want to suppress your support, your genuine human concern. And that we must reject. And any political leader fall for that is in an enslaved mindset.
Yeah.
I say so.
Cowards.
You have to, I mean, these things are nothing new. They've been tried. And so by now, if you've been engaged in the game and if you've been reading widely, you should understand that that's a tactic that has consistently been used by the oppressors. And so to see people come, oh, don't make it political, it's part of the plan. And we gone past that because we understand your game. This is bigger than any one of them that trying to come and, make it small. The fact that this child's death has aroused, so much interest, not only in Guyana, but around the world. And is showing a spotlight on the deficit of the Guyana police force. Instead of the government to say, hey, something is seriously wrong, you are trying to say, don't make it political. It is already political. Your action make it political. Yeah. And so I could go all day just ripping that apart with facts and evidence. Public policy is part of political decision making. Who make public policies? What policies run the police force? We got a constitution and we have the government of the day who appoint the police commissioner with a political decision. So let's start from there. So don't let anybody come to confuse us. We're smarter than they think.
Yeah. But Laurie and I went ahead this morning without looking at any statement or anything because it's the same hymn sheet. When a people and, the wicked people behind the politics, when something happens and people come together and putting aside differences, putting aside political preferences, putting aside race, putting aside religion, and pushing a movement for a good change, the politicians and so on, they try to control a narrative to speak to race based on their constituencies, to say, hey, don't give up on your PPP now. Don't these you political. These you want to get you out of power.
And that's how they make it political. Right? That's their political.
And the commissioner of police is not fired yet, and that's not political. So I mean, like you rightfully mentioned, we can go on and go on, but there's so much in this conversation today. Because if it was not political, the commissioner of police would have been told a long time to resign. The commander would have resigned, and we, in the first place, we would not have been here. Because don't forget, the opposition did not even agree to the appointment of the commissioner of police. Yeah. So all of that is political. So when it comes to death, murder, evil, witchcraft, lies, deception, protection of evil and crime by the police, which is the government, you're saying that's not political. Listen, let's just get into the conversation.
Yeah, stop right there. You made the point, and so I want to reinforce that point. The Constitution of Guyana provides for the appointment of the police commissioner to be made the president in consultation with Consultation must mean meaningful consultation. I can't talk to you because it's a talk to you. It must be meaningful to appoint a commissioner. That never happened. That's the Constitution says so. But the president made a political decision to appoint him, nevertheless, without that consultation. So stop with your bull. I don't curse. And nobody's going to force me to do it. But stop with your bull put in this morning. People are wiser than yours, you think.
Darlene, finally, consultation, meaningful consultation. Remember when the PPP went to the CCJ with the matter with the chairman of the GCOM at the last election?
Mhm, mhm,
And Granger said we had consultation.
mhm.
I met with Barrett, which was the leader of the opposition, but the CCJ said no. It means you got to agree. So we gonna put it one again down. You see, some people got a shallow memory. So
Shallow.
don't come out here and tell us what consultation means. I am talking about the interpretation of the CCJ, and because of that, they had to get the next chairman for GCOM, right? So there we go again. Just pushing back on a little bit of history. My sister and friend, the Honorable Lorleen. So Lorleen, this matter, all of us, and we can just do, if you allow me to do a quick recap.
Sure.
We saw on Facebook, streaming live, a group of people from Region 3 crying for help, putting their story out there. They went to swim, and one of the little girls disappeared. They tried to search the pool, and this was their story and nothing. They asked the management to please check your camera. We got a lot of camera here to help us find this child. And management said, listen, we don't know anything. These cameras, they're not working. Our cameras are not working. And this is what I heard from the people on the live stream. And they called the police. And they were complaining about the treatment for the police and whatever. And so they said, listen, we're sleeping out here all night. We are not going anywhere. The next morning, by the time I opened my eyes to head over there, I saw a statement from the police giving details as to a CCTV footage that they looked at. Again, they looked at it. And they saw the young child not only enter, but exit the hotel.
That's a police story.
That is the police story.
Thank you.
So they exit, the child left and went into a car, a Ram black and red with number identified by a number plate. In that statement, it further mentioned that they got the owner of the car, who then informed them that the car was rented to one Orlando. And the police got Orlando, and this investigation is taking place. By the time I get in the vehicle, my sister to head out to over the river, the family now refuting that and said, no, that's not true. We look at the footage from the neighbor. And the neighbor, it showed where the child go in, but never come out. So they back and throw.
The child went into the hotel.
And search.
So the neighbor footage showed that the child went into the hotel, not the car.
The hotel.
Thank you.
Not the car. So by the time I get there, there's a young lady who was streaming, Butson, I think something like that is the title. Can't remember the first name. So when I got over there, she then approached me. We were talking because I called her on the phone and said the president called. The president asked that they leave and everything is going to be all right and then got to burn and things.
That's the president of Guyana?
The president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana.
Interesting.
That was told to me. That's that. I don't know. I'm just repeating what was mentioned to me. And they should leave.
That's
and
the
that,
day.
In my opinion, you know,
that's the day.
Because somebody, it pushed an influence because she was at that time in agreement.
And stop right there. We got to stop and break this down. You talk about influence. Why is that influence? Because there's a disparity in the power relationship there. This is the president, a person of immense power, talking to an ordinary citizen. So just that power imbalance is sufficient to influence an ordinary person to act as the president says. This is a position of power. The disparity means a lot.
Yeah. And Lorraine, the young lady did not only express that to me, but to another officer who was dressed there, a female officer in Kiki. So she now, in believing that, was trying to tell the people, listen, we gonna calm down on what's not going to happen. But Lorraine, why was it important to note? And let me jump back a little bit, because yesterday I heard the mother saying that the police went to her, and she called the police name, showing her an image, a blurred image, asking her before the statement if this is not her daughter. And she said, no, this is not my daughter. My daughter is as tall as I am. So before the statement, even the image that was presented to this woman, not a video, and blurred image, the mother was saying, hey, this is not my child.
But yet, the police made a
Mental-
political decision
Yeah.
to go ahead and put out the press statement, even though the mom says that is not my child. Who best know their child, the mom or the police?
I do. That's it. And all along, not only the mother, but persons was calling, well, put out this footage, let us see, because we
I
don't
want to
trust
see
you.
it too.
Persons in the public and on Facebook say, listen, wherever is this video you got, put it out. Put
That
it out.
has to be part of the investigation. We want to see it.
Exactly. And no less
Show it to the public.
The vice president said it, the vice president said, let's show it. Bring it. Bring it for me, bring it for the family, and bring it for the public. Let me see. So
I want to see it.
So we move from there, Lorley. So while there, the police now come and they come in and they go into the crowd with shields. And that now spiking up the crowd, they agitated because persons, they determined that the child is in there. So on the, I saw, like, because it was a heavy black smoke, bottles coming over. So I got around and said, listen, you can't do that.
So you on the scene.
I am on the ground now.
All right.
Right? So I said, you can't do that if you bust my head. So my son collect the phone, I go around to the crowd and I'm shouting out to them, don't do that. If the child is in there, we got to be resolute. And we got to guard this place. That's why we're here. I don't care who said, president said, we guarded this place and we will do it.
It's not a president child.
Because once this child is in there, the child must not come out. So we must guard this place. Lorraine, you notice when the canter coming out that we just going through quickly. And then a word went. I saw lips moving to a police in a key that is indicating that, hey, the girl in the pool show up. So the mother then was sitting down, so I trying to move her. Beverly Alert was there to put the mother one side because it's a shocking news. So the people start to run because now I'm saying, like, the girl raised up. So while my son running with the phone, I running to take the mother one side. And lo and behold, the body was there. So you know what's going to happen at that time. The father jump in the pool, take out the body, rest the body up there. Everybody's going crazy. Police in shock because remember, they now bring the sniffer dogs because there's no child is in here. The police saying that no child is in here.
Stop, Madam Brooms. So you were saying the girl miraculously turned up in the pool before the sniffer dogs came?
Yes, well, if you look at my life, just before, by the time they started talk about sniffer dog, just by the time the dogs arrive, go back to that life, the sniffer dog come, body in pools, everybody was like, how this body just appear same, with the sniffer dogs?
Is that a coincidence? That's a question.
That's a question.
Why the sniffer dogs did not come the previous day?
Well, the people saying, since last night we asked you to bring the sniffer dogs. Since last night we asked you to bring the dogs. But they didn't carry the dogs. They send more force, they send men.
Maybe, so that was a political decision to delay the sniffer dog to send the men. We
To send the men.
talking. This is how I want it to be clear. These decisions are political decisions.
1 minute, Lorraine. I want a technical operator because I'm not going to see any comments. I'm not getting to see, people forgive me, I don't know. So it's a conversation and we would want to know what people are saying. I don't know if the technical operator could just come and give me some guidance, maybe bring a tablet or something so I could be looking,
Yes.
paying attention to the comments and things like that. So, technical operator, can you please present me with a tablet, some gadget, so that I can be able to view the comments? Go right ahead, my sister. See the technical operator operating like you said.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
So I looked at the police statement because, to be honest, I am still shaken. I have to be honest. I can't even focus on what I need to do for me because this whole thing is so
And
upsetting.
you're a teacher. You didn't introduce yourself. They know you're a teacher by profession.
Man, it's like that's a child that I probably could have been teaching. I mean, I teach older than she, but every child is a child.
Yes.
And to hear what happened, and it's like the police statement.
No.
You want evidence to solve
Sorry.
this crime? The police statement is right there.
I don't know if I'm back in.
You know,
Cut the color off.
the police statement has given us. Are you able to see your comments now, Madam Brooms?
No, but they're setting up a device here for me. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. You see, you're so technologically inclined. That's a good thing. But I'm saying
Support.
the police statement in itself is a good place to start from investigating. And I want to say, the statement made on April 23rd, 2025, as it relates to this child missing, has given us a lot of clues, in my view, that would indicate political interference. We don't want to make it political. The statement in itself, the description of the child, is a concern. The description of the victim is a concern in the statement.
Oh, sorry. Somebody keep calling and messing up. You hearing me now, Darlene?
I am. Are you hearing me?
You hearing me?
I am. Are you hearing me?
I'm not hearing you.
You're
now.
not hearing me?
This is so, I don't like it when, you're on this. I mean, my mic is not muted or anything. Can you hear me?
I am hearing you. Can you hear me? You are muted now.
All right. Can I ask the technical operator? My mic is muted.
It's okay now. It's not muted now.
It's not muted now?
No. But you
All right,
hearing
good.
me? Well, you gonna blank off the screen.
Oh my God! Listen, and
Are we
Lord,
doing?
before you continue,
Are you hearing me?
hearing me? Are you hearing me?
I am.
Okay,
You hearing me?
you're not
Are,
hearing me.
I am. Yeah.
Okay, you can hear me. Technical
Are
operator, I'm
you
not hearing
hearing
you.
me?
Mic
Are you
muted, mic
hearing me?
muted. Huh?
Are you hearing me?
No, I can't hear you. Maybe your
Oh,
mic is muted.
no. Mine is okay.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's the crossing back and fro. The call.
Yeah.
All right, I can hear you now, Lurleen.
You can
Thanks.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
I was going to make the
perfect.
point. I was guided just now by the technical operator to ask persons coming on this live. We're going to have a wonderful conversation, but certain violence and certain language we will not tolerate. We ask persons to desist from it. You know, we are a mature people. Let us, if we're not, some of us, let us mature ourselves and have these conversations taking place without attacking and disrespecting people. That is all I want to ask from the viewing audience, and thank you for viewing. Go right ahead.
Yeah, because we're not able to see the comments. So
I'm now able to look at them.
okay. Alrighty. Well, that's good. So I am saying what disturbed me more than anything else is the statement put out by the police on the 23rd of April, where they described having an understanding as to who disappeared, an 11-year-old child. They were trying, in my view, and I'm entitled to my view, they were trying, in my view, to present an image of the child that would cause us not to be concerned enough or not to care enough. They know she's 11. They say female under 16. Okay, they would have already had all the details about this child, but you chose to say female, mixed race, under 16. What
Wicked,
is that saying to us? That for me
wicked.
is wicked because you're trying to create an image in the minds of the people. We know in Guyana, the age of consent is 15 as per the constitution. They tried to change it the other day to 13 and one big alabu. I think it went back. 15. So the police statement is very suspicious. You know our age. Why not write the exact age? We know that when we run in school sports and all, they're under 13 race, under 15 race, where you know that people who are 14 and so on, they can qualify to run in that race. Okay. When they say 16, the average Guyanese would be thinking, well, maybe she close to 16. She probably about 15. Because the impression you're giving people, oh, under the age, she's age of consent. And so she must be gone with your little boyfriend. That for me was despicable. It was brutal. It was cruel to try to paint that child in that way. Having full knowledge, they gave us her name because they would have spoken to the family before this went out. But they gave us a suspicious category of age. That, in my view, was deliberate.
Darlene, let me add to you right there. Not only did they deliberately try to paint this child as if it's some young girl get away with a
Run
man,
away.
let me be more
Mm-hmm.
clear. They placed it in the statement that she left, and she left the mother. They showed the mother a yard where they saw her with a picky man, a picky hair. A
Again,
picky hair again is describing
the
her with a
narrative.
man.
The narrative. She
The
got with a
narrative.
little black bite that they call it scrape head. We gotta deal with this thing
Yes.
because it's wicked. It's
Yes.
vile. And you're telling me it's not political? That's
Hold
a
me.
political decision y'all make
Listen.
because there's nothing in the police order would tell you to do that. So that was not a professional decision,
Listen.
you know?
And so why we having these conversations and for the viewers is because sometimes you're in the live and you rush to. So Lorraine, I'm so happy that we sitting down to break this down.
You gotta break it
Because
down.
while you alluded to the fact that the girl age, it was deliberate to describe her below 16 as if, mixed race
Age of
belongs to a man.
consent. Age of
But
consent.
right,
She going for shaman.
and
Mm-hmm.
they move her from being a child, 11-year-old. They knew the age of the girl. And further went on, even to say to the parents, she was spotted with a picky hair. Who got picky hair, man?
And then, because this is how they paint our young people, you know, the texture of the hair make them a criminal.
Yeah.
And so she gone there with a little criminal, what they call in scrape head or whatever. I don't know where they get a term from. But people, y'all don't accept certain things for your children. Please don't accept certain things. And so when they say that in the statement, I was livid because I understand what they were trying to do. I understood the narrative. The other day, I think yesterday or wherever, there was a missing report of another child somewhere in Berbice.
Every day.
They had her age. They had she raised. They said she is 13, exact age. And so when I'm talking, I am talking from a place of evidence because I believe in evidence. I believe in data. And so when you compare the two, one must ask, why did you not put that baby is 11 years old, to let John public know, and how they treated with the issue from the inception, to tell a mother to go home. And if the girl is saying that she talked to the president and the president said go home, would the president go home knowing that his young child of 11-year-old is lost and can't be found?
No, you can go home and sleep, Lorly. And so I want the viewers to understand. When we talk, we call for the removal of the commissioner. Before even getting to how the young lady appeared in the pool, it is very, very critical. You said to her mother, she was spotted with a picky hair, boy. So it's saying, woman, you got to go with a man.
Thank you.
She run away with a man.
Disrespectful, vile,
to that mother.
wicked.
When I get on ground, I ask a woman who knows the child, say, tell me something about the child, because I work a lot with children and troubled teens and all of that. And the woman said to me, I asked her because I'm following the narrative that the police is putting out there. She said it was a lovely child. She went Easter Monday or went to fly kite. Something like that, the woman told me. And she come and she hugged me up and she said, Auntie, she says a sweet child. Here the woman now, the woman says, not them little girls even for several hot. You know how big people is talk. So I saying this police is they're disgusting. I asked her about 3-4 persons to tell me about the child, because the narrative, the lies that the police was peddling about this innocent child who, when they failed and this child got her demise, nobody know up to now. You out there guaranteeing to the public. She left with a ram, she got with a man, you saw her with a picky hair man. How you could tell me that we can pull that back?
You see, Miss Brooms, what you were saying there, I mean, the statement, I read the statement. I had like 5-6 people calling me and saying they're reading this statement. And you know what they're saying? The little girl must be gone with your boyfriend. You see what the police said?
Yes.
That was exactly
that was said to
the reaction the police wanted.
Yes. People started inbox me, Miss Brooms, the girl must be gone a man. These little girls.
That is exactly. You see, some of us, we are too quick to judge. We are too quick to judge. As soon as I read this, I said, this is wickedness in high places. The fact that they got your name, we know that they said to talk to the grandmother. The grandmother didn't know she age. They would have gotten all the details, but chose to give us an age range that they know is the age range that suits the consent. That's the age of consent in Guyana. And so the average Guyanese looking at that, them girl 14, 15, they must have gone with their little boyfriend. And that was so wicked. And I could not get past that because I know different. Because I know I've seen missing persons report where children were missing and what it looked like. I know. And I said, this doggone thing, this is wicked.
But
try to discredit the child.
Darlene, before I bring in and introduce Novelle on that note, the police didn't only put the age to push a narrative. They added to that, she was spotted So now they are confirming that this girl left the hotel and gone with a man.
A
They
lot of
saw her at
specifics.
some bus shed. They
A
saw her at a
lot
bus
of
shed with
specific
a picky hair
details.
man. Novella, just come in and introduce yourself. This conversation, I did mention you'll be joining us. So we have Novella Noble coming. Novella, just say hi, introduce
Hi,
yourself.
good afternoon, everybody. First, I like to take accountability. I was having some issues trying to get on the stream, and certainly I was on the trail working out when I received Miss Broom's call, and I normally don't say no to her, so I hurried home and got dressed, and I wanted to be respectful of this panel to make sure I was appropriate for to be able to discuss matters with you all today. Look. Simple thing I will say about me, I am a citizen. I'm a daughter of the soil of Guyana. And I am here not only to lend my perspective and voice to the incident and the incidences that is actually happening in Guyana, but it is to also call for accountability and justice. And as citizens, regardless of what part of the world that we reside in, Guyana is our own. We don't have another country to go to. If I leave the United States and I come back home to Guyana, I want to know that I'm coming back home to a society that is orderly, a society that is just, a society that is equitable, a society that is accountable to its citizens. Hence the reason why I am so grateful to be a part of this conversation and to share in our voice in our collective voices today to talk about not just the incident, but then what do we do moving forward? And what does accountability look like for we as citizens? And what we expect of our government and of our police departments, and for us to be able to, for them to protect us and to serve us the way in which we are requiring them to do. And so thank you for being here.
You're most welcome. So right into the conversation. I'm going through
Yes.
some of the comments. Patrick Triumph saying that the image of the police force has been shattered. Listen, it's broken. It's shattered a long
A
time, but
long
now
time.
this is a closer play. With all that is happening, they ain't got nothing to shatter anymore. It's been
And that's
shattered a
why,
long time. All right.
just to pick up on the comment there, the comment from the person who inboxed you. The police commissioner, Mr. Hicken, put out a statement to say XYZ. We are saying, and I am saying, we don't need a statement from the commissioner. Sometimes we set the bar too daggone low.
Yes.
You can't put out a statement saying that this commander gone on leave or whatever we investigation. Sir, you need to go. And
Agree.
everything starts there. I want you to sit and imagine if you are running a business and if you are serious about your operation, the people under you would think 10 times before they do certain things because they know you mean business. To think that the police department of Guyana would do what they did if they know that they had a commissioner of police that is serious about what he's doing, they would think 10 times before they did what they do the
But
other day. And so we don't
Lorly,
want a statement from him.
Lorly, you're so right. Listen to the next statement because remember we going through this thing with a fine Kiko. When the girl body appeared in the pool, the
Hmm.
commissioner of police again put out a next statement saying that earlier we had inaccurate information. The language inaccurate. They didn't like. And right now they're reviewing their internal communication system.
We heard that in Linden.
No, but how could you disregard the parents? You lied. You said it shall go with a man. You throw another youngster
Hmm.
Orlando. You arrested Orlando. You had him in
Hmm.
the lockup. You did all of that. And to come to the public with some statement to say that you had inaccurate, you're lying and destroying the lives of people. The young man could have gone to jail, and you saying you had inaccurate information. We still got Orlando hollering out there saying, listen, I was going to work, I was treated like a criminal.
Mm.
I was going to get a job. I lost $500,000. I can't take it. It's destroyed me. I love children. I have children. I would never hurt somebody's child. That embarrassment and stain. And he asked them, please clear my name.
To date.
If I can offer to add to that, I want us as citizens to really recognize the contempt, the arrogance, the disrespect of the police, the commissioner, in no civilized society. And we are actually espousing ourselves as a petrostate, that we are a progressive nation, that we are all about bringing in investors to be able to come into our country to be able to do all of these things. But let's get to the basics of things. In a proper functioning democracy, or in a democratic system, or just in a decent society,
Mm-hmm.
when a high profile incident such as Adriana's death, such as the two boys in Linden, occurs in a system, it is not out of the ordinary, or it is not something that is highly complicated for the powers that be, meaning, i.e., the police commissioner, to be able to address the nation, to stand in front of its citizens and say to them, here are the findings of what we know today. Here is our intention of what we intend to do tomorrow. We will keep you apprised based on the circumstances of this child's death. We have yet, I don't know, this incident happened when? It
3 days
started
now.
Technical
three
operator,
days
come,
ago, right?
please.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the contempt of our systems in Guyana, meaning the police department, the Guyana Police Department, and its leadership, that citizens don't have the respect anymore. And I also want to be able to speak about the elites in this statement that I'm making. And
Mm-hmm.
I understand that justice actually is given to them. But I also want us to know, as a community and as a citizenry, the basic thing of what we should be expecting from that the Guyana Police Department or the police force and Mr. Clifford Ickens, or whatever is his name.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Ickens, you owe it to your citizens to come and address this nation that is called Guyana with your presence as the leader, the top person that is leading the police department, so you can address us to tell us exactly where we're going, are we getting there, how the investigation is actually proceeding, how you're addressing the family, because you have failed. It is a dereliction of duty that you have failed us by you have not even addressing the nation. So either it is highly incompetent, you are highly incompetent, or there is such a gross level of disrespect for us as citizens that you have failed to address us. And so that is actually my perspective to Mr. Ickens and the top brasses in the Guyana police force.
Um, Novella, I want to comment the one thing you just said. You talked about him, any civilized society, which is what should happen. You come, you face the cameras, and you speak to the people. That has not happened in Linden. It didn't happen in this case. At this point, we don't want to see him anymore. That time passed. The fact that all these things are happening, it's not a month since Linden. Now this. We are saying that if these things are consistent, this is not like a one off time. These things are consistently happening under your watch. It says something about you, the leader. And I am saying at this point, even if he stays there, there's no trust in the police force,
And no respect.
no respect. So, what are you doing there? If the president, and in my view, the one thing that the president should have done or could have done to bring some kind of start somewhere in terms of peace in this situation is not only to ask all those. The fact is, the police statement says, and this is what is so upsetting, the entire police force is in this statement. The
Yes.
statement says, Region 3 Command Center is on the chase and involved, and they review this and whatever. Then they say the Georgetown Command Center as well. So it's the entire police force. So who is in charge of all of this mess? And so the time for you to come and stand in front of a camera to talk to us has passed.
You're correct.
That disrespect, we're done with that. And unless you see, sometimes as a people, I've been on the road for too long protesting. And sometimes in those protests, you look around and you're asking yourself, like, you know, you left your job as a teacher, you're down the street and you look at your parents with you. And I thank God for the children that I taught because their parents had my back. Because when I'm out there on the streets and I look around, they're there with a bottle of water, Miss Laureline, you know, we got you, whatever. But there are some of us, with all the injustices and the atrocities happening, we feel that it doesn't concern us, so we go about we business.
Yeah.
And then we begin to accept these abnormalities as normal. And so as a society, we have decided that we accepted anything. So a king could come 5 days after the fact. You know, the dad said something to the camera. He said on the couple minutes or whatever before the child's body was surfaced in the pool. I haven't looked there and it wasn't there. Night and day and whenever. He said he got a call. His sister, aunt, or somebody get a call from the police commissioner. They gave him the phone to answer. He answered the phone and the commissioner, Mr. Hickens, said to him, this is the child's dad. He says, give him 30 minutes. He's coming down to the scene. The boy said, click, he hung up the phone and he thing or whatever. He probably gave him his condolences, I am hoping, because I know but apart. Put down the phone. He said about 10 minutes after the body surfaced in the pool, Mr. Hicken, from all indication, never get to the scene till now. My question, since I am in social science research, my question is, was the body, was it an accident that the body, coincident that the body just turned up after that call? Why did the commissioner continue to go to meet with the dad? Why didn't he continue after that call? So there's a whole lot of questions here to be asked. So the commissioner lapsed in several ways. And at this point, the only thing the president of Guyana can do is ask this man for his resignation or fire him. And the police commissioner, if he has any decency, he will just resign.
Laureline,
and if the president wants to save its face,
Laureline and Novella,
fire him.
Because
of course.
Laureline and Novella, just pause for a minute, because on the said day, you see, so much is happening under the same watch of the commissioner. 3 women lost their life and the brother got shot in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And the allegation again is that they went to the police and they made report that this man will threaten them. Again, the vice president said last week, he is waiting for them to tell him if the gun was illegal, if the man got a license or not. Because if the man was a licensed firearm holder, the man weapon should have been lodged. The point I'm making, we just
too many lapses.
The narrative. Hold on, we just holding the narrative here to this one incident. But when we talk and Laureline making, and we come in here to say the commissioner of police, if he has any decency, should go home. Too much has went wrong. Too many lies coming out from this commissioner.
And too many times, too many examples to affirm that. Yeah.
And don't let us not make a call. Again, who's trying, I don't know what's wrong with this Facebook people. That this young Orlando, unless the police apologize, put it clear, big statement, take it down from the Facebook page, write and ask Facebook to remove this thing completely. This is a stain on this young man, his children, and his future. You got to get a job, you go to the embassy, anything you're going to do.
Damage.
When they type in your name, that young man's life, and I am calling on the lawyers to sue People ain't got money to go to court. To go to court is a frustration, my sisters. But
We need
I'm
a pool of
asking
pro
on some
bono
lawyers
services.
to represent this young man and sue the Guyana police force
Agreed.
because no amount of money, and give clear instruction, and the court must pass an order to the police to clear this young man's name. That young man could have gone to jail. So with all this for now, let us assume, because people like they understand the damages here and it cannot be repaired by this commissioner of police. Let us say these people took the words of all the mighty heroes and left.
Hmm. Which was the intention.
Which, in my opinion, was
Mhm.
the intention of all that was in authority.
Remove from the hotel, go home.
Remove from the hotel. Remove from the hotel. That was the only call. Remove from the hotel. I tell you, when I got on ground, I was asked, oh, could you help? Could you help to tell them to move from the hotel?
Mhm.
And I said, I will do no such.
Mhm.
I will ask all of us to remain resolute and watch this hotel. The says sniffer dog coming, this gonna come, they're gonna come, and they will find us all here. Let the sniffer dog start stealing from when he coming through the crowd. All who pick it in and they got some sniffing, let the sniffing start to take place.
And
He
you
can
see,
sniff me first. I was waiting for the dog to sniff me because when
there,
the dog passed me, all he can do is sniff.
there for your common sense. Because the fact that they're insisting that you leave should tell you that something is amiss.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that everybody from in the authority is calling and telling everybody, you go home, go. How are you going to go home knowing that your little child is missing? How, as a parent, you can sleep? Imagine, imagine that level of cruelty.
Yeah.
I mean,
They
the
said the child
police
was spotted at Lenora Bush shed with a peaky
police
peaky hair.
statement giving all kinds of direction. They've spotted the police give so much misleading information and then come back to say, oh, all of this was wrong. This
Inaccurate.
seemed like a well concocted situation to
If
create havoc.
Yeah.
if I can just add,
Go right
and
ahead.
sometimes we kind of have to take a step back and kind of pause for a moment and internalize as citizens the meaning of when we have a police force or a police department or function that is very critical to our society. And the police department is now named and fingered in being complicit, being actually involved into a murder of a child purely by the function of the actions on with regarding the police that was present, that was there, whether there were instructions from the top all the way to those that acted on the ground. That is a serious and a dangerous proposition for us to be thinking about. Let's just really kind of take a step back and
Hmm.
think about, like, what is the function of a police apparatus in a society, right? As we know it, when we have a police function in society, we know that it's not only just to protect and serve, it is to investigate, it is to be able to advocate for citizens, it is to make sure that their work, their investigative work leads to fair and equitable investigation so that citizens can have justice and they can be actually held accountable if they break the law. And I want to be able to just simplify this and synthesize this in saying that we currently in our country have a police apparatus that is now a danger to society. Okay. And I also want to qualify that because I know it is easy that we make these explosive statements out there. I also want to be able to affirm for those police officers and those that are doing their due diligence as they're law abiding to the principles of the force. We know that you are there, but unfortunately, those that have now been the face of the function of the apparatus of the department deems you very dangerous,
Mhm.
right? It deems you incompetent. it deems you to not have credibility. And that is a dangerous something for for a growing and evolving society. And if we are in a country and we don't trust the police, what are citizens supposed to do when something goes wrong in their communities? That they're going to think twice to say, oh my God, I can't call the police because I'm either one, I'm afraid that I will be victimized. I'm calling so that I can be protected. But then if I call, I might end up on the other side of the law and I might go to jail for the rest of my life, like this young man that we're talking about. That there was such a prolific storytelling about where he was, his vehicle being utilized. We are at a very dangerous place in
Wow.
Guyana. And I want to just let us sit with that. That we are literally, we've got a police apparatus that we cannot trust. And citizens should not trust. And up until whether it is the president, it is the heads of the folks, like, well, we know that we want Ikens to go home. In order for them to reform, and to completely gut it, clean it up. No citizen should trust what is coming out of the Guyana police force. And it's not by way of us just saying these words, but it's primarily the actions to which you have espoused that you are now calling us into question of your credibility and your legitimacy as a force. And that's my position.
Thank
Well
you. And
taken.
Lurleen, before I bring in the Honorable Member of Parliament and Ferguson, I was told at tomorrow's Parliament,
Interesting.
Lurleen.
You want me to comment on that before Madam
So
Ferguson?
before the Honorable Member of Parliament comes in,
Okay, I can
I would
only
like
speak.
to, yes.
Sorry, I know that
Mhm.
there are two, and there's a current MP, and there's just like recent MP. I'm going to speak to the recent and the current as a past MP. My position as a past MP in this moment, having a parliament day tomorrow, would be to stand in solidarity with the family and, in fact, picket at the office of the president or make the parliament your picket wherever. You can't necessarily. And you see, the fact is, we have been doing the same thing for too long. These things happen and we just operate our business as usual. So we go to parliament, it's a normal day. Something is wrong with that culture too. Something is wrong. As MPs and as leaders, people look into politicians to lead in this moment too. And sometimes we have to take a stand because our going there, somebody might have a motion to bring. Make the motion a public motion on the street because you know that when you're going there, you don't have the numbers. And you know that they would not pass it because it's coming from the opposition. So, I'm sorry if I'm sounding too harsh, but we can't go with this lukewarm kind of situation because things will continue to happen. You can't necessarily sit there and operate, oh, it's another day. And they're coming and talking about something. And we just get a little girl who has lost her life tragically because, and I am saying, this is my view and I'm entitled to this. Maybe, just maybe, if the Guyana police force had acted with haste, had acted with some sense of urgency, because from the time the child was missing, the parent alerted the police. But they're telling you all kinds of Jim Cock ring bang. What you bring sniffer dogs almost 48 hours after. This is a child. And so we can't operate as though this is normal course of business. So to all my MP friends, I know I have no control over the opposition, the government, or nobody. But I am saying for too long, we operating as though it's normal when all these major things happen. And somebody got to take a stand. I can't tell y'all not to go because I don't control y'all. But I'm saying my position is that we take this moment to reflect as a society, where are we? I called upon those who are the people of cloth, the religious people in our midst. Okay, the imams, the pandits, the pastors, and everybody. We need moral and spiritual guidance as well. Where is your voice? A one night can't do it. And so we have to stand out there as leaders, and we got to really pull people together. We can't go out there and, operate as though the commissioner of police sitting there is okay. No. And today something happened, tomorrow we gone about. No, it can't happen because it's going to continue to happen.
Definitely,
And
definitely.
we
Yeah.
will just support the whole idea that, oh, there's a saying in Guyana, oh, get them to the morning and they're done. And
Yeah.
it keep happening. So where are we today?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Madam MP. How are you,
Yeah.
Sister Annette?
But before we go to the Madam MP, I just want to endorse. I am saying, take the parliament to the streets. The people will hear and feel you more. There is not the time to go sit down, eat, dine, scream. You have a speaker that have no respect. They ain't got no budget or anything taking place. They still got no time with motion. They're completely disrespectful to you. So before I introduce, like you, Lorleen, this is just my opinion. I am not saying what who should or who should not do, but I am saying, as for me, Parliament should be a no. Honorable Annette Ferguson, how are you? And allow you, I mean, the conversation is going on and you're fresh. Just allow your fresh voice to jump in. You can introduce yourself to the viewers and get right into the conversation. It's I'm happy to have you on this panel. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, my colleagues. First of all, I must apologize for the late joining of this critical and most important conversation. And
That's
I
all
also
right.
want to take this to say good afternoon to all those who are listening to us. Look, I know the conversation is basically centered on what transpired last Wednesday on the west coast of Demerara in a small knitted community called Tushen on the east bank of Essequibo. Yes, the east bank of Essequibo. It's quite unfortunate that that young lady, that little girl, met her death in that way. And I trust, like all Guyanese, all right thinking Guyanese who are calling for an independent and a thorough investigation into this matter. Young Adriana's death must not only be a death that is added to an already long list of statistics. I believe this is the turning point where justice must be served. Where justice must be served. And Lerdine, you're absolutely correct. I must let you know that the opposition, I think my colleague Jermaine Figuera, I think it was being shared viral on social media. He will be tabling or has tabled a motion for us to discuss at tomorrow's session. For me, the session tomorrow shouldn't be an ordinary one where we go and follow what is on the order paper. This is a national crisis that all members of parliament, all 65 of us, should be discussing this tragic incident involving that young life, that young life that was lost last Wednesday. So I don't know what the mood would be like tomorrow because the government has a way that whenever whether bills or motions or questions are tabled by opposition MPs, they just find a way to say, oh, it is in contravention of the standing order and all kind of thing. Oh, we already got standard operation procedures that are dealing with this thing, not to let the issue be addressed at the national level because they know that with the debating of such a bill, it would bring out a lot of things which would more or less really identify the weaknesses within the Guyana police force and all the other systems that are geared towards protecting whether it's children or our people. But as a member of parliament, I am really, really concerned that many voices, you have the Rights of the Child Commission. To date, I haven't seen any statement from that commission which is geared toward, it's a constitutional body that is geared towards protecting the rights of our children. I haven't, perhaps I may have missed it, but I cannot recall reading or seeing any statement in the public domain from the rights of the rights of child commission condemning that heinous and brutal death of young um, Adriana Adriana Young. So I think this is where I would want to pause for now, and I will give way to my other colleagues
Okay.
until we get in.
Wonderful. And the honorable member of parliament answered my question. She said, even when we go with the bill, with the motion, you see this kind of look back long time politics we are playing. You said when you go with a motion, you don't have numbers where you could do that could say that it shouldn't be a normal sitting. When the speaker don't want to hear from you, he shuts you down. And
One
I
of,
leave that on me. I leave that one there. People they
Um,
got no rights of no child, and all these commissions becomes
um,
political arms.
can I come
Another
back?
thing, hold
Can I?
me. No, hold me. Even when you have foreign and private investigators who they got to rely and go through and talk to, not the same commissioner of police, Darlene.
And that is where we circling the wagon. I had mentioned Rights of the Child Commission. That's one of the first commission that came to mind when I was talking about this thing before, because I served on that commission. I was the opposition nominee on that commission. Then the wife of then President Barra Jagdeo, Varshini Jagdeo, was the chairman of that commission. And I therefore want to ask Sister Anna, who's chairing that commission. That commission's job is to look out for the interests of children in Guyana. That commission is internationally recognized, and it has a staff, I suppose, and it is funded. The job is to act and protect the interests of the child. That commission has not said anything yet. I don't know who's responsible, if it's the president, if it's the current president's wife. I also did not hear anything coming out of the office of the first ladies, the office of the first lady in Guyana, which is another office that's supposed to look out for the interests of our children. And so when you're trying to tell me don't make stuff political, it is pointing in political directions, because we are not having those who are vested with the authority given to them politically to act on behalf of our children to so act. And
Lorraine,
therefore,
Lorraine, how
don't
many
come around
children get
funny.
raped? How many babies get raped? How many of these matters you anything from any rights of any child commission? Come
I,
on, that's why we're here on this platform.
I
That's
also
why
want to
we're
echo.
broadening this conversation.
I also want to echo, since we're talking the rights of children, and we must not forget, least we must not forget, that I think it was a year or almost 2 years ago, I might have the timing incorrect, that we witnessed the deaths of 20 of our young, promising children, that they were burnt in the fire in a dorm,
Hmm.
and we are still waiting. It is the same police investigation. Is the same apparatus that we are still depending on. All
Hmm.
of these, organizations and infrastructures that is supposed to be protecting, advocating, and bringing to bear accountability and at least understanding of whatever either have occurred, so that citizens can have closure, and we are still waiting on that. So when we look at this from a collective perspective, what we have seen, or what I am seeing, I'm speaking, I'm going to use my I statement as a citizen.
Hmm.
I am seeing the continuum of gross incompetence, gross neglect, a lack of care, a lack of concern for our citizens. Because what value do we have when we have these systems and we've got these structures set up, and they serve the public, they serve the citizens no good? And we're gonna have, for me, I'm gonna speak from a place of deep truth today. I feel like this is supposed to be a truth telling thing. This is not about calling us out, it is calling us in so that we can call ourselves up, right? Um, and so when we have these systems, and are they just placeholders? They're just there to name and state that they're there, but then there's no effectiveness, there is no results, there is no impact to our citizens. What are we doing here? What's the point of, yeah, we have it, and how is it serving our community? How is it impacting the lives of citizens? Are they seeing, sort of like results from it? And so we must call ourselves to bear to say, okay, yes, these things they exist, but how are they truly creating impact to
You're
our
speak.
citizens?
You're asking lots of questions that has to do with evaluation and analysis of what you have. And when you have, first thing, we are not a society that believe and operate as though we believe in empirical data and findings of those things. If you have a president, Miss Novella, and this was very, very, because I've been on the harp for a long time talking about not believing in data to drive decisions. If you have a president coming out shortly the other day and saying, we don't have to have data for nothing. So, what does that say to us as a people? We are just doing stuff for doing its sake. We don't care about the impact. We don't care about results. We just care about, there's all this money thrown around. Oh, we giving 500,000. There is no, how do we know that $500,000 is sufficient or it is whatever? How do we know that this will in fact impact the lives of the people we hope that it would impact? In what way? We are not a society, we are not a government that believe all those questions you posed are the right questions, but of no avail. And that's why I'm saying we just circling the wagon. And if the president can openly say data not important, that's recent. Where does that tell you we stand? And so
Well,
sometimes I
I
get
guess
frustrated.
I guess the sort of like the refusal to have evidence-based information that provides historical references to where we can go back and be able to look at things and we can comparatively analyze it is one thing. Maybe the other reason why we don't want it is because we don't want to be able to track it, because now it will dispel corruption, and then it's going to dispel also accountability, because when you have evidence-based information, you have data to say, oh, you know what, we picked 5 mango from the tree the last time, and how we did it, it was that we took the rat and we plucked it down. And so somebody have a point of reference. Is either we don't want accountability, is either we want to continue in this very mediocrity of us as a people. But for me as a citizen, I am saying that we must not only shout at the throttle of our voices, but it is the demand of saying that enough is enough and we are not going to accept that, because the world is moving to a different place. Almost civilized societies, you could be able to go and have records and be able to look at things so you can compare and say, okay, here is what happened, when it happened, how it happened. And the refusal of that is that is either we
Hmm.
evolve or we die.
But novella, the refusal is because we all know we in a corrupt society.
Yeah. Yes.
And so anything that will bring about transparency is not one that the government will look at, right? If you got NIS and a man come and show that he can build something and touch it, you're gonna see this, you see who pay, who thief the money. They don't want that.
Or they
Hmm.
So
want to
we
keep the
know we got
nation uneducated.
US report, they have to come and tell us about how corrupt we are and the corruption in the Guyana police force. The US report come, when we get out there. And the AG and all them run out there, but I'm not hearing them anymore. Because this right here, US is standing tall to say hello. where all this lights coming up is who covering up a crime? Is it not the same police force? It's not the same officers we were talking about? And so just in a matter of days, we got nothing we could hide. But Larlene, the way forward, people talking about investigation and things like that. How you think we can regain confidence and trust
I've always argued,
with the
Madam
Guyana police
Brooms.
force? Let me go with Larlene.
Sorry. Madam Brooms, Annette, can I call you by your first name? Annette,
Yes.
Novella, audience. My argument has always been, if you are to solve a problem, you have to first accept that it exists.
Exactly.
And the fact that we are not accepting that it exists, we can't solve it. And so I like to do my own little introspection because I believe in being better. And I like to be critical of myself. And when I'm done with this call, I'm going to go be critical of myself because that's what I do. If a government thinks that it cannot evaluate itself, it cannot look in the mirror and say, well, here, we short here. The police action in this case was so wrong. Really had to get this report to know they messed up. If the people didn't stand up there and they weren't forced to throw the body in the pool or whatever, we would have been in. If those people went home, this story would have been done and gone. But because those people stood there, the people refused all the pushing to go home. And thank you, Madam Brooms. I'm going to have to say thank you for standing up and going out there and showing leadership and saying to those people, we are not going despite the president or whomever said we must leave this hotel. And thanks to the father for saying he died to something telly in his belly, he died in there and he ain't moving. Conrad, if we had a different side of people, maybe, I like to look for something good to come out of this kind of evil. And if there is one thing, there is nothing good about this child death. Let me say that. But the police was caught red-handed. I'm saying it. And like I said on my live just the other day, their statement find them wanting. There is nowhere, they give you all this detail. This is a lot of information the police put out because they were sure
A lot of lies
that they would get away with this. If you ain't sure, you want to put this out. This statement is so detailed, except for the fact that the girl age wasn't there, which was the first thing that I suspected. They're trying to create a situation she gone with a man because they fixed the age as she's she's within the age of consent. So she could consent to going with your boyfriend. That was evil. But I've been on the path of wanting change a long time, and sometimes I find myself me alone. Even to when we the farming coalition a couple years ago, now people talking. But let me come back here. We have to start demanding more than we get. And the police commissioner can't come to us and say to us, the three ranks are under house arrest, and the division commander went on administrative leave or whatever. The question is, why the three ranks? That's why Novella question about press conference, talk to us face to face. Because one of the question is, what are you under house arrest for? You got to be under house arrest for something, which points you to taking some deliberate action in some way or some gross negligence in some way. So we got a question, but we don't want to hear it from you because you yourself have been implicated in some way based on all these conversations happening. So you, in my view, would be part of the investigation. You are a participant in the investigation, so you can't investigate you. And so I am calling, for me, the commissioner got to go. We got to revamp the police force. And let's
Yes.
start with the top. Let's start. We can't just move them boys at the bottom because they're boys at the bottom doing what they're doing under your watch. And it's not under your watch today. It's a long time. So my call is for all those police departments implicated in their statement. They got to go. The heads got to roll. But the fact that the president cannot come out today and say that the commissioner has to go, something is wrong with that too. So you're trying to tell the people, don't make it political. The president has taken a political decision not to fire the the police commissioner. That is political. And
And
so if that is political, it also needs a political reaction. So all of y'all coming out and don't make this political decision making help make public policy which run your life. And I will pause there.
well, Lorleen, let me thank you because I'm trying to wrap up because we can really go on because so much has gone wrong here. The commander for that division got to be reporting to somebody down there at the headquarters with these matters. And they report, got some big giants down now at Ivlery who's overseeing operation, admin, and all of that. While the same McBean who they fired because he's going to study to become a commissioner is a deputy commissioner. He's still holding a junior position than to the big boys up top there in Iveri. What happened to them and where they command? But I take your point. So I am agreeing with you that you start from the top. We got to get some revamping. Don't talk this thing. Let us get some action. I will come back with a final question to you just now, but I'll have Madam Novella tell me. Laureline said a commissioner must go. We should start there. Madam Novella,
And the
let me.
question is, what should happen in the police department? I just want to make sure that I'm
Yes.
answering. I echo and I second very strongly that you cannot have ineffectiveness at the very top of your leadership and expect that everything that certainly trickles down or is cascaded down will be effective. So it is in simple terms. I absolutely believe, and I am calling as a citizen, and I am in support and demanding that Clifton Ickens be immediately removed as the head of the police department. If the fish is rotten from the head, then the whole fish is going to be rotten. And we cannot have a commissioner, a police commissioner, that we have empirical evidence of his inadequacies and his incompetence to continue to lead for those that are the good people of the Guyana police force. We must have him removed. I think secondarily, there needs to be an external commission that comes in because there are parts of the Guyana police force that needs to be gutted. We've got to be able to sort of take this thing and to be able to extrapolate those that are rotten to the core. Because if you have a function of a system and a part of it is rotten, it is gonna permeate within the rest of the system. And that is what we have seen. We don't need no empirical data. We've seen it with our naked eyes. There are examples of it everywhere. So there needs to be, in my humble opinion, a commission. There needs to be an independent. And I think sometimes this word independent gets so overused that I just get so tired of it. That now it is so disrespected when we use the word independent. It has no meaning. There is no tangible substance to what we when we say independent because it has been so destroyed and disrespected. But there needs to be as somebody somewhere and a body somewhere that comes into Guyana, outside of Guyana, because remember now, this stink,
And
the
outside of
fish is
Barbados.
rotten. We need,
I'm
we
sorry.
need, we need, we need. I mean, just individuals of substance, and they have the caliber, and they have the integrity, and they have the knowledge to guide us. We are on life support. And so we can't just say, oh, let me just extrapolate or whatever. And individuals and an entity that doesn't have any interdependencies to this government. It has to be something that citizens can look at, and all of us can look at and say, yes,
We're proud.
this is a body of
We
substance that we
trust.
know that we're gonna get the
Yeah.
outcome and the output to which we are desiring. This ain't got nothing about personal, whatever. But
Yeah.
my point is, an independent body to come in and to do not only as an assessment, but to be able to really do a postmortem of the Guyana
Mm-hmm.
police force.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Come in, do it. And don't only give us a book and to say here are the recommendations, but it must be followed with specific and explicit actions. There must be a path to success and a path to impact. Then we will should be kept apprised as citizens. This is not some backdoor thing that they just normally do where they go and they do this thing as a unilateral, whatever. And we, the citizens, we must be asking critical questions. And we also have some accountability of what our role is in this.
I'm coming to that.
Then, and only then, that's a starting point. We must
Mm-hmm.
also, in the assessment, all of those ganga heads that we have had and we have harbored for years and years and decades under meritocracy, under, oh, well, we know somebody that knows somebody, and based on relationships, they must be sent home, as in fired. And not only that, they must not be allowed to be able to benefit from any type of retirement or whatever because you have not earned it. When in America and in other proper societies, when you have actually done something wrong, you don't get recycled to a different place. You are fired and you don't get benefits and you don't get anything else. So those individuals that are rotten from the inside out must be extrapolated and fired. And it is then and only then that we are making and we're actually moving towards progressive steps of us seeing that there could be a turn in the Guyana police force. And maybe more than maybe a third or two-thirds of the force might need to be gutted. And as a citizen, we must be prepared to see that level of accountability. Enough of what we have allowed and what we have permitted as citizens. So for me, what I envision, it is a completely changed force. It's a transformational force. It's not going to happen overnight. And as citizens, we must keep our eyes on the eagle. We must keep our eyes on the prize because, we have a way. We also have a laissez-faire way, meaning that we sometimes don't even take pride in what we demand and ask for because, we make some noise and then we just roll back and we go and party and we must be accountable citizens and we must keep our feet to the pedal, demanding, asking questions, being probative, so that we get the kind of responses and we know what is happening and what the changes are and what it looks like. To me, that is just a starting point. We are only scratching the surface at that point.
Okay. The Honorable Annie Ferguson,
Yes.
at this time, what you think should be done to bring order and repair, bring trust and everything, to get the Guyana police force that can really serve and protect us?
Thank you very much, Simona, for the question. And my answer wouldn't be much different from what my two esteemed colleagues just shared. But just to add to the point that Novella shared with regards to reforming, transforming, perhaps rebranding of the Guyana police force, getting rid of a few bad elements within the force. You would recall that while the People's Progressive Party Civic was in government pre-May 2015, many studies were done. I'm trying to remember some of the studies that were done by, experts, and recommendations were made as to how the Guyana police force can be transformed. And the government at that time never took up those recommendations and have them implemented. They never acted upon those reports. But when the coalition came in, we recognized that there was a slow, progressive transformation within the Guyana police force. We had police using lethal force against its people. We build relationships. First of all, we said we wanted a professional Guyana police force, and that is what we had started to work on. We had police beating up citizens, police killing people under the coalition government. Those things were of the past, because what we were doing is actually rebranding and building a force that citizens can trust and have, this police citizen relationship. But what we have currently is a repeat of what we saw pre-May 2015. So how can this be changed? The only way this can be changed, and don't let us forget this, the person who appoints the commissioner of police is the president in
Consultation.
leader of the opposition. You would recall that the leader of the opposition had a say with regards to Hickens' appointment. But the president went ahead and unilaterally appointed Clifton Hickens. So obviously, if you have someone who lacks leadership, someone who don't have an experience of managing a force of that magnitude, well, that is the end result you will get. And it is so sad that since this incident, one, Hickens, according to reports, promised the young father of that child that he was going to get back to him in half an hour. I think the parents are still waiting to hear from Hickens. Secondly, there was no press conference hosted by Hickens or the hierarchy of the Guyana police force to address this gruesome situation. Thirdly, how disappointing it is that the man who oversees the Guyana police force, or the Home Affairs, the Guyana police force, which is the home of the Minister of Home Affairs, I believe, in my God's feeling, Roxanne really want to see a reformed Guyana police force. But his hands are tied, because you would recall, Simona and Lurleen, I think it was at either the 2023 officers conference, when he made reference to officers sporting gold jewelry and all kind of thing. Less than a day, or within hours, this same Afranat came out and said he ain't seen nothing wrong with policemen sporting gold jewelry. So what was that saying to citizens? Is that Robeson ain't got control. He don't have control of the Guyana police force. It is clearly the president or Hickens takes directives from the president of this country. So for me, how can we see a change? One, I agree that we must accept that there's a problem within the force. And the only way that can be changed is that we got to get rid of the government. The government must go, because once you have the People's Progressive Party leading and managing the affairs of this nation, nothing will change, because what we are seeing in 2025 is just what we saw pre-May 25th. Now, don't forget, It is not only this young Adrian Stick. We had the gruesome murder of the Henry Brook boys. We had Orr in Boston. We had Quindon Bacchus, and I can go down the list. That families are still working. Families are in deep pain. Families were promised no stone will be left unturned. But I tell you this, the Henry boys, their mothers have gone to the great beyond without getting justice for their little one. So for me, um, Simona, and Novella, the change must be that we get rid of the People's Progressive Party civic. Once they go and a new government is in place, you will see a difference in the Guyana police force. And that's how you're able to get rid of the bad eggs. And the
That's
force,
good.
I think
Okay.
the force got great men and women who really want to do their jobs, but because of the political interference associated with the politicians, officers, junior ranks, they're not allowed to effectively execute their mandate. So I'll pause here for now.
Well, Honorable Member of Parliament, in your closing remarks, you mentioned too that the Guyana Police Force needs all of us to help them, the good men and women in there. However, allow me to say it quite frankly, Madam Member of Parliament, and this is nothing towards you. I am disgusted and disappointed. In fact, I don't even know if they got a shadow minister of Home Affairs in the National Assembly from the opposition. I'm disappointed as a Guyanese and as a voter because the police, while the president is giving all this instruction, and based on your analysis, the minister of himself, hands are tied. What happened? The mouth and hand and foot tied for the opposition shadow minister? What, in a coma? Huh? I'm disappointed. I don't even know if you have one. So we understand that, and allow me to be very, very, I'm not shifting narratives here now, comrade, on this panel. I must be absolutely honest. That's who I am. So I'm hoping that if there's a shadow or a dark to the Minister of Home Affairs, that dark find a bulb and let us see some light and start operating based on not doing us a favor, neither no government or opposition doing the people of this country a favor. You choose to go there, people take your vote, you sit down with 6,000, 7,000, you're being paid, you're getting all sorts of perks and pension to represent the people. And the opposition is not the opposition just for the people who voted for them. It's the opposition for the people of this country. Whether people vote for you or not, you are the opposition. And the opposition got to get the house in order, because the shadow minister, I don't know the darkness of where that shadow is, but I hope, and if you can influence, even if it's a candlestick, in that dark, that we see some kind of movement there. Panelists, please forgive me on that note. Anyhow, Madam and the Honorable Lorly Nestor, who lives all the way overseas in the US and is a teacher by profession. She's a Guyanese by heart. Listen, she's a trooper and everything. Lorly, my final question, because I know we got up. Listen, we could go on all day. What can the people of this country do to ensure we just not get a change, but a good change at this time, and really bring Guyana to where we ought to be? Really have us to feel safe and protected. Really make ourselves proud, because with all that was said, the Honorable Member of Parliament said, listen, you got to get a change of government. But I believe the change got to come from us. This election that is coming must not be left up to no political leader to decide who best, who run, who if, who but, who ally. It must be a people's election, won to win. The people of this country. Honorable and my colleague sister, Lorly Nestor, please
Oh, thank you, Madam Minister Brooms, all the way from Bartica, Georgetown, Guyana. I am happy to be here with you again, man. Um, I believe in advocacy. I live it,
Yeah.
and it never. I mean, it doesn't take me an election to be in Guyana to walk communities and talk to people to stay engaged in the process. Because when people are turned away from the process and when people become complacent and when politics, is not a thing because people frame it in a way that don't stay engaged. So that's one. We got to continue to let our people stay engaged in the process because there are people who don't want them to stay engaged. Coming to the police force, there's a culture, and we are talking here, and I can swear for all of us. We are talking here about the police force and this incident because we care. If we did not care about Guyana, I would not be sitting there spending time doing things because I have other things to do, to talk here. And I can say that for all of us here. This, I don't know Mr. Hicken. I have no personal grudges against him. The only thing I know about him, he used to run me off the streets when I'm protesting, whether it's the former commissioner of police, when I did by Eve Leary, or when at Dirty House, Mr. Hickens turned up there with a bunch of people to run us off the street. That is how I know him. I have no personal connection. I have no dislike or disdain for the gentleman. But I am saying he's incompetent based on what I see. I also believe he's a political ploy. Think about this. The Constitution dictates that the person ought to be agreed upon by the opposition and the government. The opposition say no. So the president say, yes, I want you. He therefore has an allegiance, in my view, to the president and the PPP because they put it there. The police force has a culture, and I see this so often, and I'm like, what are we doing here? There are all these businessmen in Guyana giving the police gifts of car, gifts of this, gifts of that. We have an assistant commissioner of police, Mr. Brutus, y'all know the name, who is before the courts on some 250 charges for taking bribes, they say. The commissioner of police, the current one, Mr. Clifton Hicken, I think in a letter said that he collect the 2 million pound, whatever he collect, and he give it paid to the wedding, whatever. How in God's name is this normal? Mm-hmm. And so the corruption, there's a culture of corruption, and we have to accept that. And it comes from the very top. So we can't talk about changing the force when the culture of corruption engulfs the force. You would recall the Paul Slow Commission Police Service Commission, when Paul Slow was the chairman. Paul Slow and his team, that commission, a professional bunch of old policemen. Those people, that commission, they said to the government, that commission was appointed under the previous government. And you see, that's the old political, everything wrong. Because if you come in and even if you're doing good, because the previous government appointed you, we kicking you even though you're a professional. You got to go. And that Paul Slow Commission recommended that certain policemen, including Mr. Brutus and others, should not be promoted because they're incompetent, they're corrupt, whatever. The PPP government took a political decision to still promote those people, even though the police service commission of the body with the requisite authority says to them, advise them. We're talking about bringing people to advice. You can advise people in authority, and if they don't take your advice, we go nowhere. That competent body advised them that these men ought not to be promoted because of XYZ. But these men were their men, so they promote them anyway. And then this old scandal broke out. And then you cut Brutus and you put all these charges on him. So now he's before the court. But let us not forget, Brutus was their guy just a couple days ago. But because the old things screw up now and then you throw you outside, we don't know you anymore.
Good. Throw you under the bus.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So when we talk about political interference and corruption, it wreaks havoc in the police force. So that culture of corruption where everybody taking the little bribe, and you said the former minister, Ben, I really don't give the man much credit because I really don't know the man no yet from his foot till now. When you talk about who can, the police shouldn't wear jewelry. Wearing the jewelry is not a problem. It's if you get the jewelry under conditions that you ought not to get it under as an officer of the law. I got a problem with that. So it's not wearing the jewelry. Did you get the jewelry lawful? But based on what we see in all these court cases, everybody taking bribe. So, and Mr. Hicken, I believe, was implicated in that same Brutus thing, but he's still on the job. So, why are we beating around the bush? We, as a people, we should deaf our ears to Brutus putting any state. We don't want to hear from the gentleman anymore. We cannot appear as though that this is normal. So you ask me where we going? People got to band together. This is not about PNC, ALP. Make sure I get the acronym right.
And yes, ALP, madam.
PNC, ALP, AFC, whatever. This is about Guyana. If you care about the society that you live in, you want to live in a decent, free society. And the other thing that aggravates me so much, these little boys that running around and getting shoot 15 years, 16 years, gunning down TV.
There's a next
and
Sunday.
then there's a next topic.
There's a next Sunday.
And then you call them straight, but they're the product of this society.
People
and we can't run away from that. These little 13 and 14-year-old boy out there. And then them scraped. No, they are the product of the society.
Yes.
We have a responsibility to them too.
Yes.
And so, but I want to close by saying I want to extend again my condolences to the family of Young, Adriana Young. We can't let this murder go out without just getting justice for. I'm tired. Like even the word Novella said, the word independent the word justice sound like it ain't get meaning no more. Because you think it's today we call it for justice?
Oh gosh!
I could not even look at the body of the child because there's so much memories of all them death squad bodies that I see since 2002. So. This is painful for me to even acknowledge it's happening after all these years because these things never leave Guyana. These things never leave. You know how much people out there, the parents, the children disappear and we still don't know where they're. Quinton, this young man from Agricola, Miss Bacchus, his mother was a pastor. He was a member of the Guyana police force. I interview so much people. I hear the pain. I see the cry. I see the children, bullet-ridden bodies. And all these memories come back. So this thing is painful. And so I am saying, Sister Brooms, Comrade Annette, the society got to come together to deal with this. This is not a one-party thing. And then people are running around there and saying, don't make it political. It is political by virtue of its nature. It is political by virtue of its nature. And so y'all continue to peddle because y'all don't want certain people. When you see certain people, certain segments of Guyanese society start coming and getting involved in these things, there is another segment of the political operation, the PPP. They try to get to those people by saying, you gonna be a hooligan like them because I was called hooligan protesting. So once you look like me, you're a hooligan and you're a scrapehead. But when you're protesting and you're overturning minister vehicle during the Granger administration and you're going on bad and you're dealing with Granger, you were standing up for democracy then. So Some people, when they protest, they're deemed hooligans and thugs. The other people, they're fighting for democracy. So it's not two Guyana, it's not one Guyana, it's two Guyana.
Yes.
And we have to face that reality. That's real. I said, if you want to solve a problem, you gotta own it up. You gotta say it exists, and you gotta mean you have to mean that you want to solve it when you say you want to solve it. And so we operating. I
Yes.
don't like to beat around the bush. And that's why I say to people, if you don't ask me a question if you don't want to hear the truth. If you don't want to hear my truth, don't ask me. And so as a country, as a people, we got to look each other in the eye and we got to understand this is for Guyana. That's why we got to stand together. This child's death can't be in vain. And that and all seem hollow because you're tired saying it. But you know what? They want us to be tired.
Yeah.
Because when you become tired, you refuse to engage. When you become tired, you give up. And so the status quo remain the same. That's what they want. And that's why I talk to young people and I say, stay in the game. You gotta stay
Well,
in the game.
well, Lorraine, I mean, you said a mouthful, and that is why if you look at this program, you see Guyana and Guyanese arise. Um, we've been out here for quite some time, so we're wrapping up. Viewers, just bear with us. Madam MP, what you think as a people, the Guyanese people, not leaving it up to the so-called politicians and the people who would not act because, like you rightfully mentioned, people would not act. They wouldn't change. We just talk justice and this and this and this and this. You know what I mean? It has no meaning. So, what do you think the Guyanese people can do to bring about that good change?
Thank you very much, Simona. Just before I proffer a response to the question posed, allow me to say this. God is in the midst of this entire situation. The police and whomever were acting behind the scene, they failed to realize that there is a man who is all powerful and who will expose their wicked deeds. And I want to commend their family, all those who turned up in their numbers last um, when that body was discovered. I'm sorry that I wasn't out there because I had a funeral to attend. So I saw one people, the coming together of all Guyanese from all across the different ethnicity. I see one people, one nation, Guyana, and the common destiny is that we want to find truth. We must be able to find the truth that led to the death, the gruesome death of this young lady. So, with the coming together of Guyanese, I believe in order for justice to prevail in little Adriana's young death, Guyanese got to remain mobilized. We have to organize. And just as we started, the beat, that beat of justice, once we maintain that status quo, the atmosphere will continue to, because the line must be drawn. Young Adriana's young death in this manner must be the last. It must be the last. And the only way this can be the last is that our Constitution, I think it's Article 143, allows us the opportunity to protest in a peaceful way and know, call for justice in every way, shape, or form. So for me, ladies on this call here and all those who are listening, we have to remain mobilized. We got to mobilize, we got to organize, and we got to up the ante because not after the PM and the burial of that young lady, we gone back as though all is well. With what I saw transcending this nation from region one way to it is saying to me that Guyanese have reached the top, that at the top of the pyramid. Enough is enough. As I
Right?
alluded to earlier, you had the Henry boys who
We go
mutilated,
back.
whose mutilated bodies up to now, no justice. You bring a junkie for claim that is the junkie who killed these boys. So whomever was behind that act, they might be walking freely every day
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
in society. But young Adriana's death must draw the line. We must have justice. And all those who, whether from top brass, bottom brass, underneath the brass, side brass, and all over the place, they must be brought to justice. They must be brought to justice. And the families and all Guyanese will feel satisfied that this one here, because of our advocacy, because of our resilience, nobody is away.
Okay.
And I will
All right.
end with what Pastor Patrick Doolichan said, I think it
No, me
was
don't like preachy.
in
Comrade Ferguson.
2021 or 2022, that the Guyana police force is corrupt. He was absolutely correct. So once again, I thank you for the opportunity in sharing, and my deepest condolences to the families of young Adriana Young. I stand with you. I stand with you.
Thank you, Annette. Novella. The question is, the question, what can the Guyanese people do to ensure? Because we could talk all what we want to talk. The pastor could have said this, but he could have do all of that. What can the Guyanese people do to ensure?
Yeah, I want to frame my closing argument, and I want to address Adriana. I want to address our family. I want to address our citizens. I want to address final the police department in our country. Adriana, as we join in solidarity today, and we sit here reconciling, analyzing, and sharing a humble space to speak about your life. May your death not be in vain. May your death not be void of justice. Adriana, may your death invoke something in our nation. May it awaken our consciousness today. May your death bring accountability. May your death create a nation that we can realize our greatest potential. May your death today be one that it will never be forgotten. May your death be a beacon of hope for our nation. And as you lay in that cold freezer today, that every citizen has a accountability and a commitment. Every politician, the heads of state, the police department, we all have a responsibility to ensure that your death and the death of others not be in vain. But particularly on this day, Adriana, we will stand with your family and we will continue to not just cry for justice, but we will demand that your death be one that is recorded, that has transformed this nation called Guyana into something better than what you have departed and where you've left it. And so on this day, Adriana, as you continue to rest, may you invoke in us something, awake in us something that we will and must act on your behalf, because you have left us with no choice but to act. To your family, I say to you today that we are going to wrap our arms, whether it is virtual hugs, whether it is with our voices, whether it is with our protest, to stand to make sure that you get justice. And we also know that justice delayed is also justice denied. And so as we stand with you, stand with us, hold the faith, don't give up. Don't let them come and persuade you to do something differently. Don't let them come and buy you, and we know that you won't. Don't let them come to compromise the criticality of the loss of your child. So we will stand with you and we will stand for you and we will surround you with love and we will fight with you, because Adriana's death is our death. And so keep the faith and keep praying. We will continue to pray for you. To citizens, I beseech you today that we come as a community, not only mourning for Adriana, but as a community broken, as a community seeking answers, as a community demanding justice, as a community demanding change. And we cannot let up. Let us keep our feet to the fire. Let us continue to stand and stand resolute. If we have never stood before, let our standing be as if our life depends on it. Because if not now, when? If not now, where? If not now, when are we going to see and demand a change that we are asking, we are demanding, and we understand that power concedes nothing without a demand. So, citizens, do not go laissez-faire. Do not go into your corners and forget about this incident. This is the time. Our life depends on this. It is the time for us to stand as a people and demand what is rightfully ours. And I'm not talking about politicians. I'm not talking about politics. I'm saying let us stand as a community. Let us stand as citizens, asking, demanding, and making change where it is much needed in our communities. Let us all fast. Let us think of Adriana every day. And when we stand, we know that we are doing justice for Adriana. To the police department, to the Guyana Police Department, I want to say, and I want to echo a famous quote from Edmund Burke that says, "The only necessary for the triumph of evil is for when good men that does nothing." And for the good men and women of the police department of Guyana, it is your time to stand. It is your time. There is no more time for cowardice. There is no more time for fear. There is no more time that you are going to sit there for complicity. There is no more time for compromise. Those of you who would like to be called good men and good women of the force, it is your time to take back the Guyana Police Department and demand change. If it means that you're going to get in some good trouble, it is necessary for you to stand. Stand for our nation. You are not just wearing a badge and a uniform just to collect a paycheck. You are wearing a badge and a uniform representing that you are standing on behalf of citizens. You're standing on behalf of your children. You are standing on behalf of young people. You are standing on behalf of mothers and fathers and sisters and daughters like Adriana. So we want to see good men and women from the Guyana Police Department to stand so that you can dispel evil for those that continuously want to embark and perpetuate evil in our system. You must stand, and today is your day. We are demanding, we are pleading, we're asking you to stand. And to our country, irrespective of your race, your color, your creed, I know Adriana's death has transcended race. It has transcended ethnicity. It has transcended geographic locations. I've got friends that are Americans that are speaking to me about what they saw on social media. So this isn't no longer regionalized. And it's not only demographized into just Guyana, it is global. So we have a responsibility, and let us use our responsibilities wisely. Let us do it in honor of this baby, this girl that had so much potential that she could have been a politician. Let us also use politics. Let us make this political so that we can make policies and we can change the laws of Guyana and we can do something different. Our young people are crying out, our mothers are crying out. And so it is no longer business as usual. So I give my friends, the president, the opposition, the current government, the permission as a humble citizen to make this political. Make it political and make change. If you're not making it political, you're not in here to do the right thing. Because when we make it political, we will understand that transformational change will come through our policies. So please make it political. I thank you all today that we can share this space. And we cannot just talk only about Adriana, but we can talk about the thereafter. We can talk about what needs to happen next, what we are going to do and how we're going to do it. I would encourage us to continue to have these conversations in places and spaces, because when we're talking, we're impacting and we're making them make change. I want to say to my friends in Atlanta, we are going to have a vigil for Adriana on Friday at the Guyana Association of Georgia, on the lawns of the Guyana Association of Georgia. I will post it out on all of the platforms that I'm permitted and able to do so that we as a community, because Adriana's death is now global, that we can also share in our thoughts and in our perspectives about standing in solidarity for her family and for our community back home. I thank you.
All right. From the outset, let me thank all of you. It's amazing, and it was not even planned that we, the women in this case, we got to take the lead on these critical matters in our country. We, the women, we always have to bear the blunt of everything. And after that, we retrieve. And some of us, we allow ourselves to be trampled. Yesterday morning, in the morning, Thursday morning, when I was there, I said to the youngsters, help me to remove our dead. We need our body to be buried. I beg of you, do not let our body burn like the building, but let us lift our body to a safe place so that we can have a burial. I said to the young man, while the mother has fallen to her knees and the father has vanished in pain, we have a responsibility to hold them up and to take care of our dead. Women on this panel, Guyanese all, people in this world, today we as a people here in Guyana, we have to We must bring about that change. I personally have committed myself to standing, not just talking, for a 1 month to ensure that change come. It starts with us. The commissioner of police must go. I am saying he must go. Is a place to start. And this must remind all of us. And why I started on the note that it is our body. It could have been your daughter or your son. None of us is safe. None of us, this society, none of us want to live in such a society. And it is therefore on that note, we have to arise and do what we have to do to ensure. We are a peaceful people. We struggle in all these struggles. We never look for trouble. This song must not be just a Venezuelan anthem. How are we going to retrieve now? If the president don't want to act, we got to make him act. It is not up to him, Guyanese. It is not up to him. It's up to us. What are we going to do to ensure? We could put condolences. We will go and lay wreaths. We have mentioned the president went from Region 5 and say, justice gonna come. I don't want to hear the word. You went to Region 6, justice gonna come. You go to Region 7, Zaire more, the justice gonna come. You go to Region 2, you go to Region 3, you go to Region 10. What are we waiting for? We are so divided. I pray my prayer today. Everything is possible with God. But as of this moment, we will not see ourselves as Indo-Guyanese, African Guyanese, indigenous Guyanese. We will not see ourselves as Muslims or Hindu or Christians, but we will see ourselves as Guyanese. And we must ensure that we live in a society, oh beautiful Guyana, oh our lovely native land. Guyanese, this is not the end of it. We will not stop. We are going to go forward. We have our condolences. Novella made it clear. Lorleen alluded to a part. Novella came with the condolences. Annette herself mentioned and reflected on so many different things. And I want to close on the way forward. The way forward, we got to arise. We got to arise. So thank you, and thanks to all the viewers. You will see and hear more from us. Lorleen, Novella, and Annette, thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.